Hey everyone, I'm Elisa. I'm back, and this time we are talking about the reproductive system. So we're going to break it up into two parts, male and female. Even though there are a lot of similarities, there are still a lot of differences. So let's go ahead and get started. So our genes live on in our offspring, and we are obligate sexual reproducers, which means that we have to mix our genes with somebody else's genes to make our offspring into the next generation, and kind of forces us to um, take the strongest of the survivors one like over and over and over. And it also helps kind of jumpstart evolution because we are not single-celled organisms anymore, and we live a really, really long time, right? We live more than a few days. We live like, hopefully if you're lucky, like a lot of years, almost 100 years in some cases. And well, I mean, really it's more generational, so between 20 to 30 years per generation. And so that means that we have to kind of like have this way that we can um, exploit all of these novel genetic components in order to just really get the gene pool mixed up and also to adapt to our environment. Okay, sorry, that was a lot on that. But anyway, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at the general aspects of human reproductive biology. And we're going to start with the male role in reproduction because that's just customary. Okay, so humans, we have two biological sexes, right? So we have to mix two individuals together, and um, what we've done is we've evolved these two, again, biological sexes. And so it means that we have a biparental, since it's two offspring, two parents that have to make a single offspring. And so that's something that I should start talking about right now. So there is a biological sex, and so that is like the scientific reproductive element, and that's different from the concept of gender, which you may even actually still see often referred to in your book. So gender is a social concept, and so that's something that is ascribed, right? So that is a whole different ballgame. We are only dealing with the biological stuff here. So, because we are mixing like 50% of one parent and 50% of another parent to get 100% of this new individual or this offspring, it means they are not going to be genetically identical to either one of the parents. And so, even though we die, half of our genes will live on if we've reproduced in, um, I hate that this is in a different container, in offspring, in our offspring. The gametes or the sex cells are going to be produced by either parent. So that's going to be eggs and sperm cells. The zygote are after these sex cells have met and fertilized. And now that fertilized egg is going to develop into a human over time. And so that zygote has to be a combination of both parents' genes. So male and female gametes or the sex cells are going to combine their genes to form a zygote covered. One gamete has motility, meaning it can move, right? It's mobile. And that would be the sperm because basically it is a cell with a whole bunch of enzymes and other stuff, and it's got a big battery pack, and it's got a swimmy tail. Spermatozoon. So the parent producing the sperm is considered male. Mainly, it's going to be that they're also carrying this Y chromosome. You've heard of the X and the Y. We studied that back in biology. So there's some good review material there in Bio 1. The other gamete is going to contain a whole lot of nutrients and space. That is the egg that is generally produced by the individual with two X chromosomes, at least not having a Y, really, is what it is. Individual, sometimes there's arrangements of different X arrangements, which we'll look at back in biology. Anyway, so this egg is actually kind of interesting because it's like the size of where human eyes, like the smallest that human eyes can see. Like if I were to pass around a human egg on like a little slide around an entire lab class, about half of you all would see it and about half of you wouldn't see it. So it's kind of like that interesting threshold of size. So the parent producing the eggs is typically is going to be the female. And so is basically if presence or absence of the Y is what confirms maleness or female. So female is like the default template state, right? All like if you just don't have a Y, you're gonna default to female biologically. Right? Same like bees do it, ants do it, presence or absence. Well, they have like kind of a little bit of a different chromosome system, but it's a default state. So in mammals, female is the parent that provides a sheltered internal environment, and that means it's an internal pregnancy and it's carried. Um, we don't lay eggs, none of that. So live birth, live offspring. Male reproductive system is a little bit different. So it serves to produce sperm and introduce them to the female body, right, to get them to the egg. Copulation is the act of sexual intercourse, so that's what that means. And so males have a copulatory organ also, males and females do. So in males, it is the penis. And so we're going to talk a lot about the biology of the penis. So that's how they introduce their gametes into the female reproductive tract, right? So that's how the sperm gets all the way to the egg town. So the female reproductive system is going to be producing these eggs, and so they don't produce like as much sperm by far, and they like are actually born with all the eggs that they will ever have. They just mature on a certain schedule, so that's what that is. It is where the sperm needs to be if it wants to ever become a zygote and meet an egg. So going to provide the female reproductive system is going to provide for the gametes, hopefully union. It takes care of the fetus, it nourishes it, and also gives live birth. The female is going to have copulatory organ known as the vagina, and that is going to be the primary space for receiving the penis and sperm. The reproductive system consists of primary and secondary sex organs. So, like the primary ones are going to be the ones where we're actually making sperms and egg cells, right? And so they produce what we call gametes, right? Sperms and eggs. And those organs themselves are either the testes in males or the ovaries in females. And then they're actually biologically start off as the same organ. It's just they differentiate whether or not you are gifted an X, or I'm sorry, a Y, right? So if you have a Y, it's going to develop into testes. If you don't have a Y, it's just going to continue on to the ovarian development. Secondary sex organs are organs that are not exactly those ones that are not making specifically eggs and sperm, but like are really important and necessary for reproduction, right? And that could be just getting the sperm there, could just be hosting the egg, getting it through development, making different types of endocrine type secretion, timing out this whole process. And so, for example, like in males, we have lots of ducts, which we're going to look at so many ducts. Both sexual uh, reproductive tracts are going to have glands. In males, we're going to have penises, and they are going to be that final delivery mechanism for the delivery of the sperm. In the female, we also have lots of tubes also. The uterus, which is going to host the developing fetus, as well as the vagina, which is going to receive the penis and allow for that sperm to become delivered. Um, and yeah, nope, that's what it does. Okay, so external genitalia. So it's located in the peritoneum. So peritoneum is like right at the base bottom of the torso. It's right at so let me just here, stick figure. Hello, there she is. Okay, right down here. Okay, right at the bottom. It's externally visible, except for like some of the glands and some items, for the most part. But there's external genitalia is the ones that we see, and that's why we're referring to it as being external. So the internal genitals, genitalia can be all the way up into like the lower part of the abdomen, pelvic cavity as well, except for the testes, and we'll actually talk about that shortly because of the scrotum and this really interesting temperature regulation mechanism, which is that very clever actually. Okay. Secondary sex characteristics. So the thing is it's not really super necessary in order to complete reproduction via biological sex, but it's there, and we should know about them. So some in some individuals it does influence attraction of mates. In some it doesn't. But that's where the book is. Okay, so generally, however, these traits that are going to be the secondary sex characteristics. Ugh, I need to drink a little tea. Hang on, everybody. Hang on, drink a little tea. It's so dry. Where I am right now. Okay, so in both sexes, it's really going to start off at puberty. Like puberty exists pretty much because it's like the acceleration of the physical maturation of an individual, right? So there's childhood, and then there's puberty, and then there's this like young adulthood stage, and then kind of like this wrap up. And it really doesn't finish. You like your brain doesn't finish connecting till you're about 25 years old, right? Just because you can sign a contract at 18 does not really mean the same thing. And just because somebody might be 13 years old and has their period does not mean that they are an adult, right? So just keep that in mind. Um, it's like developmental time. That is, humans, it's incredibly long. So just wait for it. It's a thing. Both sexes, pubic, axillary hair, armpit hair are associated. They also have like put off scent as well. They're quite scented. Some of these scents are, we're learning more and more about them, and they inform us about, it turns out it informs us about some of the genetic makeup and health of potential mates. Um, it also helps change the pitch of the voice, usually getting just a little bit deeper. In males, it begins to accelerate facial hair, coarse visible hair on the torso, limbs, relatively able to develop muscles much more rapidly. And so um, they're able to put on a lot, like substantially more rapid muscle development at this time. Um, so that's why people who undergo puberty, biologically male or biologically female, will have different development and result in a different adult body type with different masses. Anyway, female is going to be, there is still hair, coarse invisible hair. That's not said here in the book, but I swear it's real. Um, there is a distribution of body fat. Breasts do enlarge. Um, I know some people wish it was relatively hairless and paleness of the skin. I would say less. Let's just say that all humans, exception of the palms of the hands and the palms of the feet and like your lips basically, and just a very few other places, you have hair everywhere. And you have it as much as like a chimpanzee. It's just that we have it doesn't develop, right? Is into like a full adult state, right? It kind of stays a little bit underdeveloped. And that mainly has to do with our ability to really absorb some of that UV rays from the sun and a whole bunch of other stuff, regulating body temperature. So there's that as well. Um, right. In females as well, like facial hair can develop, it's just not as strong visibly as in males. Um, right. Females do develop more muscles as well. So that's some other information in there to share with you, but it's there, I promise. Um, oh, okay. Occasionally, androgen and sensitivity syndrome. So occasionally, a like a female will show the usual changes of puberty, but will fail to menstruate. And so it's kind of one of those situations where um, the karyotype, like it'll show their XY, but they just don't produce like enough like target cells or the receptors for testosterone. So they never like are able to turn on that switch, right? And so biologically, it's an interesting thing because genetically, we would be an individual who is male when we look at the karyotype, but like biologically, we developed into female because that was essentially like not activity of the Y. And so that would be an individual who went through, say, puberty, um, with like as a female, like genetically female, essentially. Or well, I should say hormonally female. So everything, like even external genitalia develop as female, and so it's just they don't physically have a uterus or eggs or any of that, so they cannot physically menstruate, right? And we'll talk a little bit about why menstruation exists in humans and not like most birds or a lot of other animals and all this other stuff. Kind of interesting human specific stuff. Okay, well, let's go ahead and just kind of wrap that up for now. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys are out there somewhere having a wonderful day. Bye bye.